Good day, doctor. We are Team 11. This is our presentation for the significance of critical thinking to the self and the nation. This is the list of my team members. I am Gao Yuang, and there is Li Jihan, Xiong Ni, Wang Cong, Chen Rouzhu, Yang Haihong, and Cui Jinru. Firstly is the introduction. Today, critical thinking is not only used to raise questions and challenges to generally accepted conclusions, but also to make reasonable explanations for one's own questions and challenges in a rational, analysis and constructive way. Critical thinking is based on rationality. Without independent thinking and critical thinking, individuals, societies, and nations cannot develop for a long time. The objective of our research is to analyze why critical thinking has significance for self and nation, and how we use critical thinking to solve problems of the nation, society, and ourselves. We conducted research and analysis on this issue through an online questionnaire.
Now I will discuss the literature review. We found that critical thinking ability is a general thinking ability needed in many fields, which can improve people's language and expression skills, promote creativity, and facilitate self-reflection. In their 2021 study, Utami et al. Show the impact of critical thinking on students' abilities to solve problems. However, there are limitations in that research objects are all economics students. This 2020 study found that college students' highly positive attitudes towards critical thinking did not match the ability to express critical thinking in their reading skills. And our research also adopts a quantitative research method, and the content of the research will be more specific, include the impact of critical thinking on factors such as self-correction, ability to analyze things, social well-being, and national development. That's all for me. Thank you.
About methodology. Addressing research objective, that is, analyzing why critical thinking is important for individuals and countries. The researchers combined quantitative and qualitative analysis, asked the public about critical thinking by issuing questionnaires, and analyzed the data using pie charts and histograms. The sample population is 28, and most of the interviewees are 20 to 29 years old. Number 1, survey method. Investigation method is one of the most common strategies in scientific research. This is a way to gather historical and current information about a subject. In order to deeply and systematically understand the educational phenomenon, a large amount of information collected through research is analyzed, integrated, compared, and summarized. In order to provide people with systematic knowledge, the most common research method is collecting information through questionnaires. For this time, we developed questionnaires and distributed them to the public, and then tabulated the answers for statistical analysis and examination. Number 2, observation methods. Observation method is a method by which researchers directly observe the research object with their own senses, instruments, and obtain information according to the determined research objective designs and charts. Number 3, lecture survey method. The lecture survey method is a survey method that collects relevant information by searching for a lecture. It ensures systematic and reliable investigation by checking the Authenticity and availability of literature. As an independent investigation method, the source of information is tight, and reliable is its own inherent advantages. Literature survey is less control factors which can be achieved to save time, cost, and obtain more accurate findings.
Through the survey of USM 100 students, their age, gender, country, and education level, we learn their understanding and views on critical thinking. First of all, most of the survey group of USM students, so they are between 20 and 30 years old. They are highly educated and have a deep understanding critical thinking in philosophy. In order to understand USM students' understanding of critical thinking, we made the following survey. Do you understand critical thinking in philosophy? How do you view critical thinking in philosophy? Do you think people need to think critical often? Do you think critical thinking can help people self-correct? From those investigations, we found that most of students like to use critical thinking in philosophy and thinking that it is helpful for us to use critical thinking in our life.
I will continue to show you the finding part. The fifth picture asks if critical thinking can help people become clean. Through analysis, we can conclude that the vast majority, 75%, believe critical thinking brings cleanness. Critical thinking can make people think more cleanly when they encounter things. The sixth picture asks respondents if critical thinking can save people from past mistakes. We get the conclusion. Almost everyone agrees that critical thinking helps people move on from past mistakes. Critical thinking can help people reduce mental inactivity. The theft charts ask questions about how critical thinking improves analytical skills, and we can see from the graph it is believed that the critical thinking improves the ability to think. Critical thinking helps to sum up past experience and make more correct choices for the future. And the eighth chart asks about connection between cognitive maturity and critical thinking. Almost all respondents believe that critical thinking can improve cognitive maturity. Critical thinking can also help people to look at things more comprehensively and get more correct judgments. In the last graph, we asked about support for critical thinking at the individual and national levels. The analysis found that respondents identified the need for critical thinking on both an individual and national levels. Only by the continual summary and the reflection of the states and individuals can more scientific and more reasonable countermeasures be reached. And only by states and individuals can we have a better future.
The goal of our research is to demonstrate the significance of critical thinking for individuals and nations. The findings suggest that critical thinking is good for both individuals and countries. Critical thinking is a general thinking skill. For individuals, mastery critical thinking skills helps to analyze things and improve the ability to think independently. As for a country, people with critical thinking abilities play an important role in its development. Countries need critical thinking to solve problems effectively and efficiently. Critical thinking can be considered an essential skill for citizens. The study's recommendation is to try to improve the public critical thinking skills. Practice critical thinking at an early age. We should encourage schools to incorporate critical thinking into the curriculum.